Most people looking at Palm Springs ask me the same question first. Is Deepwell nice? Is Vista Las Palmas worth it? Should I be looking downtown or up in the hills? Here's the truth almost nobody realizes until they've already wasted a weekend touring homes in neighborhoods that were never going to work for them. I'm Glen Nadeau, and in this video, we're breaking down how to find the neighborhood that actually matches how you want to live. If you have questions, drop them in the comments below. Let's dive in. Most people who end up living in Palm Springs waited too long to buy here. Not because they missed out on the deal, not because they mistimed the market, but because by the time they felt ready, the version of Palm Springs they wanted to buy into had already moved on. I've sold real estate in this valley long enough to know that Palm Springs is not one market. It's a patchwork of a dozen distinct micro neighborhoods, and each one has its own architecture, its own wind pattern, its own rhythm of life, and its own personality. It's about figuring out whether you're a Deepwell person, a Twin Palms person, a downtown person, or an Indian Canyons person. Because once you know that, the house part starts to make a lot more sense. Let's walk through the decisions that actually matter, especially if you're working with a budget north of $800,000, where you have real choice in this market and the stakes of choosing wrong are that much higher. Do you want to easily walk to dinner? Or do you want some privacy between you and the rest of downtown? If you're the type who wants to stroll down Palm Canyon Drive for a cocktail and be home in 10 minutes, look at the historic tennis club. It sits right at the edge of downtown with a mix of Spanish colonial revival homes, boutique inns, and mid-century properties that give it a sophisticated urban resort feel. Warm Sands lives in the same walkable orbit, and it carries its own distinct identity as one of the most LGBTQ+ friendly enclaves in the country, with an intimate village character and a strong sense of pride. If prestige and old Hollywood glamour matter to you as much as location, the movie Colony gives you both. It's centrally located near Ruth Hardy Park, walkable to town, and steeps in the kind of history where Cary Grant and Frank Sinatra once called it home. Now, if your instinct leans the other direction towards walled estates, mature landscaping, and a sense of total seclusion, that's a completely different lifestyle, and there's nothing wrong with wanting it. Old Las Palmas is often called the Beverly Hills of the desert for exactly this reason. It's the city's oldest and most prestigious neighborhoods, full of grand private estates on generous lots. Little Tuscany takes privacy even further, tucked into the hillside with boulders and elevation that give you sweeping views of the entire valley and a genuine retreat-like feel. Neither path is better. One is simply different than the other. The second decision is architectural. Do you want the butterfly roofs and the clear-story windows of the true desert modernism? Or do you want a home that was built with today's systems and today's comfort in mind? For the purists, Vista Las Palmas is the gold standard. It's the neighborhood people picture when they picture Palm Springs, filled with Alexander-built homes designed by Palmer and Kreisel, along with the Charles Du Bois iconic Swiss Smith A-frames, all set against a mountain backdrop. Twin Palms was the original Alexander neighborhood and is still that vacation everyday energy, with identical floor plans rotated into different roof lines, so every block feels varied even though the bones are the same. Racquet Club Estate offers a more accessible entry point into that same authentic mid-century style, including some rare Donald Wexler steel houses. If historic charm sounds like more maintenance than magic to you, Escena is worth a serious look. It's a modern master plan community anchored by an 18-hole golf course, with new construction from builders like the Toll Brothers, and none of the quirks that come from owning a 70-year-old home. Neither choice is wrong. It just depends whether you want to restore history or simply move in and enjoy the modern conveniences. Here's a factor most out-of-town buyers never think to ask about, and it can make or break how much you actually enjoy your patio. Wind hits the northern part of the valley considerably harder than the south. Neighborhoods like Racquet Club Estates and areas north of Vista Chino get more of it. Meanwhile, the southern end of Palm Springs, including Indian Canyon and Deepwell Estates, sits tucked against the San Jacinto Mountains and is largely shielded. Indian Canyons in particular has built its reputation on the quiet, wind-free, resort-style luxury centered around its golf course and known for its deep-set homes with decorative breeze blocks and a serene, established feel. Deepwell has the same protective calm, but with more of a neighborly, full-time resident rhythm. If you've ever wondered why some Palm Springs homeowners talk about their yard like a religious experience and others quietly complain every March, this is usually why. Now let's talk about something I bring up with almost every serious buyer in this price range, because it changes how you should think about timing entirely. If retiring in Palm Springs is even a possibility for you, 10 years out or 20, my honest advice is don't wait to buy the house. Buy it now, rent it out for as long as you need to, let someone else help you pay down that mortgage while equity builds in the background. Then when your work, your life, and your emotional readiness all line up, you move in, and the home has been waiting for you the entire time. But doing that well requires understanding the rental landscape up front, not after you've closed. Palm Springs requires every short-term rental to carry a vacation rental registration certificate and permit, and the city caps how many homes in any given neighborhood can hold one at 20% of the homes in that area. Some neighborhoods like Racket Club Estates are already well past that cap, which means new buyers there may be stuck on a wait list rather than renting from day one. This is exactly why I walk through the specific rental rules for a specific neighborhood with every client before we tour a single home. It's not a detail to figure out later. It's a factor that should shape which neighborhood we choose in the first place. So the income, the equity, and the eventual lifestyle all move in the same direction instead of working against each other. There's one more layer to this decision that deserves real attention, and that's the social fabric of the place you're moving to. Palm Springs is home to one of the most established LGBTQ+ communities in the country, with estimates now suggesting close to half the population identify as LGBTQ+. That's not a niche detail tucked into the corner of the city. It shapes the culture, the safety, and the sense of inclusion you feel here in nearly every neighborhood. At the same time, this valley runs on a seasonal rhythm, with a lively tourist-driven energy in the winter months that quiets down considerably by summer. Some buyers want that year-round built-in community. Others are drawn purely to the desert's seasonal social scene and don't mind the ebb and the flow. If you're planning to spend real time in your home, whether that's now or in 10 years from now, and you have the flexibility to choose where in the valley you land, this matters enormously. If you're weighing walkability against privacy, historic character against modern comfort, wind exposure, rental strategy, or community fit, this is exactly the conversation worth having before you ever step foot in the showing. If none of that resonates, if you simply want a house and the neighborhood truly doesn't matter to you, that's fine too. This city rewards buyers who know themselves a little. If you're comparing neighborhoods from a distance right now, you're not alone. I talk with people in that exact spot every single week, people trying to figure out which neighborhood resonates most, whether the retirement plan should start now or in 5 years, and whether a certain neighborhood even allows the rental strategy they're picturing. While I've only presented a handful of neighborhood examples in this video, I'm here to help narrow down the list before you spend a weekend touring homes that were never right for you to begin with. Reach out, tell me what you're picturing for your life here, and let's figure out together which corner of the valley is actually yours. You can call or text me directly or use the contact links in the description. No pressure, just perspective. If you haven't yet already, please like this video and subscribe to my channel for more exciting changes, developments, and opportunities taking place here in Palm Springs and the Coachella Valley. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.